Okay, tonight we have some tenderloins out of a mule deer we just cut up. It'd been hanging for a couple weeks in my friend's meat locker. And we're gonna make some fried rice with onions and stir the meat in with it on our skillet. So first we gotta get some water boiling, because at 8,000 feet, what normally takes a half hour takes almost an hour to get rice to cook all the way. Okay, I got 2 cups of brown rice in there, and it's just came to a boil. I'm gonna knock the fire down a little bit in about 5 or 10 minutes, but I'm gonna let it boil for like this for about 5 minutes, and then let it simmer for another half hour, 40 minutes. But just making sure I stir it and sticking in the first part. Okay, just let this go for a few minutes, and we're gonna turn it down a little. Okay, what I've done here is I've taken my little stick and I've got a little access spot in the middle of the pits here, and I lowered the coals down, and I brought the boil down to just a good little simmer. I'm going to let that go for 35 minutes and then check the rice and see how soft it's getting. Usually it takes about 45-50 minutes at this altitude. Okay, the rice is simmering real nice now, so it's got at least another half hour. But while this is going, I'm going to go start prepping the meat. Actually, I've had this meat soaking for about 2 hours or so at this point. I used some balsamic vinegar and some oil. Basically, similar recipe like you'd use for vinegar and oil salad dressing. A little salt and pepper in there. But this meat's never been frozen. So it's fresh out of the locker this morning. And I cut the whole deer up, but this is kind of always my little traditional treat, to take the back strap and slice it up and make it into some stir fry. Okay, the rice is simmering nice, but the fire was starting to cool off on that one side, so one thing I do here is I just slide it over on the grate back over to the hot spot, and it starts boiling again, and I'll probably back it off a little bit and just play around until I get it just right. Okay, the fire was getting a little low, so I stuck a few more little slivers in there. And here again, the most important thing I can say is stir, stir, stir. Just make sure nothing sticks. Oh yeah, this is getting just right. Now keep an eye on the water, and if it boils out, you can add a little bit more and just stir really good. Maybe pull the pot back a little bit while it warms. But I put about a quart of water in here, and it's well, I think I got about another ½ inch left, so we'll see. I'm going to add some if I need it. Okay, about the last 10-15 minutes. It's on a real slow simmer now. I lost the lid to this pot, so I just have a piece of rough sawn 1x12 laying around. It sort of works. If you notice, I'm not using my cast iron to cook this either, because I don't like my cast iron getting the fire marks on it. But the stainless steel works fine. But the steam's coming out, but I still, every 2 minutes, I still get in there and stir it around. Make sure nothing's sticking to the sides. Make sure the water's not evaporated yet. Okay, the last 2 minutes, I put it back over in the middle of the fire and get it really boiling again just a little bit, and do a bunch of stirring. See if I can't get that water all to burn off and soak into the last little bit of rice. Sorry about that. Soak into the last little bit of rice that needs it. Then it's going to get set over on the side on one of the trivets off the fire. Let it cool off, and then we go to the next step, which is to process the meat. I got to get the grill off here though. Okay, when you start to see those little craters popping up, that's a sign to me that this rice is just all but done. I'm going to let a little more boil off, but if I have to, I'll drain it off. But those little craters show me that the air bubbles are working their way through up. If you look real close, you can see it. Okay, you can actually take the rice, push it up on the side, and it doesn't slide back in. I mean, it's pretty much done. I just don't like it when it's at all crunchy. Okay, rice is done. I take one. Oops, that'll teach me for trying to be cool. Take one egg, stir it in real good. And when that's done, then I take it and set it off to the side. Okay, I got the rice sitting over on a trivet cooling off. And I stirred out the coals in the fire pit good, took off the grid, and I threw some oak in there. I'm going to let that get going real good. Once it's all coaled up, then I'm going to put the grill back on. I'm going to singe the meat before we put it in, well, before we put the skillet on the fire. But I like to singe it just a little bit and get a little bit of that smoke flavor in it. Okay, while the coals are over there getting ready, that's going to be a while, about another half hour at least. What I'm doing is I just take my knife and I poke lots of little holes. Make sure the meat's all been set around in this oil and vinegar for a while. And if I hit any hard spots, poke it just to get that stuff in there. But once the coals are done, then we're going to take it off and put it on the grill and singe them. Take them off, and then we'll put the skillet on and get it hot, and then we'll mix everything together. But we'll do the onions and the rice first. So I got to go get an onion now and cut it up. Okay, I got the yellow onion all cut up. I couldn't find a sweet one at the general store this afternoon, but I got this one. It'll be fine. But I cut it up in wedges, and this all breaks apart when you put it in the skillet. But I like the long, big chunks because I don't want them to disappear. Okay, I put the meat on a little round grill I have. It's about 10 inches around. And I lay that on top of the whole grill, the big one. And if it's a little hotter, I can move it around, slide it around. But all I want to do is just singe this stuff. So it's probably about a minute on each side, and then that's it. Okay, I flipped them all around. This one don't have any red spots. So that's about perfect right there. Okay, these are almost done. So what I'm going to do now is take these off the grill, and then I'm going to put the skillet on here with the lid on it and get it warmed up. Okay, I took the meat off the grill with that little grill underneath it, and I got it sitting over there on a trivet in the other pit. There's no heat in here, just a place to keep it for the time being. Move the rebar out of the way, and I'm going to put the skillet on top there, but I put a couple more pieces of wood in there because I want this thing to have a nice even round fire. Plus I want to get it pretty hot too. Okay, I got the base of this skillet on there and get it nice and level. That backside looks a little bit high. Get this hot, and then I'm going to put the lid on it so it gets hot too. Then we'll do our test on the lid. Throw something on it to see if it sizzles, and we'll know it's plenty hot enough. Okay, I put a couple strips of bacon in there just to give it something to move around and get a little base in there before we throw the rice and onions in. But by the looks of it, it's about a minute or two away. And I'm only going to use the lid probably the last couple minutes in between final stirs when the meat and the rice is all together, just to try to keep that heat in there. All I'm doing is moving that bacon around, painting that grease all around the whole skillet. Okay. Okay, just about ready. Okay, I got the rice and onions thrown in here. And I'm going to do this for about a minute till I start to see the rice getting just a little bit browned and the onions starting to get a little bit clearish or, you know, yellowish brown looking. You move it around and keep it thin and let it sit. Let it go for about 45 seconds and then do it again. And then I'll do this a couple times, then I'm going to throw that meat on here. Okay, I got the meat in there too. And I put a little bit of that, well, I put the rest of the soak, you know, the oil and the vinegar and seasonings, I put that in here too. So I'm going to let this go a couple minutes. And you'll find a hot spot. You can focus things on that a little bit. Try not to get the meat doubled up. Try to make it so it's just one layer thick. Okay, I'm going to do this for another minute or so, then I'm going to put the lid on it. Okay, I'm just making sure the meat's good. The rice and onions are fine. The tip of this tool really helps move the meat around too. A little bit of red in that meat. Okay, well, what I'm going to do is put it into a pile in the middle, and I'm going to put the lid on it. Not for very long, just for about 45 minutes, or 45 minutes, about 45 seconds. Okay, that's been on there not even quite a minute, but I think that's about it. Okay. Oh yeah. And you see the rice is start to break up into little singles. That's telling me it's pretty well done as far as what I want to do with the browning. I'm going to test one piece of meat here, and then take the fattest one. If it's done, I'm going to call it done. Okay, folks, next step is put it out in a platter. This is where the legs on the bottom of the skillet really come in handy, because you can hear it sizzling away still, but I'm going to take the lid off and stir it a little bit more. Catch my breath, because I'll tell you what, that was a couple fast and furious minutes there. But I'm going to go get a nice platter, put it on, cover it up in some foil, and save it for supper, which is in about another half hour. So the sun's getting ready to set here. So coil spraying on top. I wouldn't dare touch that skillet right now. That thing's cool as an ice cube. Really helped out and works good. Well, I'll tell you something. Putting that meat in that locker for a couple weeks, right above freezing, that is some tender meat, because this was a big buck, 200-pounder plus. And for it to taste this good, it tastes just like a little doe. But as you can see, I put it in my skillet because I was looking around for something to put it in, and I couldn't find anything. So I'm going to put this under cover now, and I'm going to go clean up the skillet a little bit, get the little bits of rice out of there, and get ready for supper. Well, folks, thanks very much for watching. Have a good evening, and I'll see you later.